15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here, now your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Happy New Year, Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew. Really excited for tonight's episode. We are in 2026, and I know that I'm not speaking just for myself. I know I speak for my co-host when I say Happy New Year, and I'm ready for 2026 to just be a great year. So joining me tonight, as always, my co-host Riding Shotgun. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew. Dump Truck DT. Holla at the crew. Happy New Year, sir. How you
Nickel
doing?
City. Happy New Year, Rob.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Rob. What do they say? Yuletide? I don't know. But Happy New Year, Rob. 2026, new year, new us. Nickel City, doing our thing as always, kicking into the new year, and I can't believe it's already week 18 of the NFL season. Here we are. Happy to be joined tonight, and everyone out there listening, Happy New Year to you. So let's kick it off, and we everyone's your wish came true. Fast forward through the regular season. Let's get to the playoffs, and here we are. So Happy New Year, Nickel City. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, man. Let's rock and roll, man. Happy New Year to the crew and to Bills Mafia all around. Listen, I'm excited for tonight's episode because DT kind of he pulled my card, and we didn't even share pre-show notes. He's absolutely right. This is my time of year. This is my time to shine, and because of that, I'm really DT. I just want to go over quickly what we saw on Sunday, and then I want to get to a fun part of the episode where we just talk about our memories and different things like that for Bills Mafia in respects to the stadium and the Ralph closing. DT, I mean, I've got a lot of family on my mother's side, and they're either here in Winston-Salem, right around Charlotte, where I am, about an hour and a half away, or they're in Philly, DT. I heard from my Philly cousins on Sunday, DT. It was bad. Listen, we give flowers to McDermott, and we're one of McDermott's, harshest critics. DT, his D stood up. His defense played well first half. Second half, I don't know, man. I know that it's not always popular to talk about 17 in a negative light. He had a bad game and made some bad decisions, and we'll quickly go through it before we get to the fun part of the episode. But last week, 13-12, Bills lost at home in the rain. DT, I kept telling my cousins, like, y'all are not better than us. Like, y'all got lucky. It was a bad game, man. I felt bad.
Yeah, kind of bad all the way around, right? I don't love, number one, I don't love that uniform combo. I like the red uniforms, but I don't like with the white on the bottom. It looks like exactly like the Patriots alternate. It looks like the Giants when they wear their reds. It's just not unique. We could do better. And our rivalry uniforms this year, we're forgetting about that because of the loss. But so it started with that, literally pouring rain the entire time. That was another, cold 38, 40 degree rain, in the elements, a defense on their side that came out with a strong pass rush. We saw it last year in the Super Bowl against Mahomes. And I was a little nervous about it. And we saw every aspect of it against us here with Josh getting touched all too many times, getting sacked. What was it, 5 or 6 sacks.
Yep, 5.
We thought eight was bad against Houston late earlier in the year, and like really 3 is probably too much, and you're doubling that with 6. And
He's been sacked 40 times this year, DT.
yeah, after what 14 last year.
14 last year.
Yeah, so obviously some issues. It's not just the line not holding blocks. It's also him holding onto the ball and trying to do crazy stuff with it. And but that's what we have to live with. Yeah, kind of just a bad game all the way around. The Philly faithful, they're like the NFC Patriots, right? The way their fans are and how brash they are, and the Patriots are brash, but at least I feel like they're, still a little like goody side, and then the Eagles are just straight dogs, man. They like to get down just like Bills Mafia, but they're just a little more,
they're worse,
non-heartfelt.
They're worse.
Yeah,
they're worse.
If you will. So yeah, if you had anybody you knew that was an Eagles fan, I'm sure they let you hear about it over and over and over again. But as we talked about last week, this game, you want to see you rolling. You want to see another win for the 11.5 win total. You want to see the boys kind of look comfortable in their home field, going into the playoffs against a good team. But the elements and some other things involved, I think, kind of wash that out, leading to really, we said last week, whatever kind of happened, if they got blown out, I wouldn't have cared. If we lost a close game, I wouldn't have cared. If we won, I really wouldn't have cared too much. So I had to stick to that, kind of mindset and mentality. But it still was kind of ugly. You don't like to see that, especially, you said it, from the man 1-7 kind of playing.
Oh, he
playing real bad.
He had some bad plays.
Playing real bad. I mean, that fumble was massive. Literally flipped the field. The ball, because he throws so damn hard. It bounced off the guy 50 yards reverse. If he would just, if he threw like a normal quarterback, they would have got it at like the 50. But it's a tough one. I think a lot of things came into factor with the weather. He's obviously not 100% healthy. He was getting touched all game, and then obviously it comes down to that final finale, that final play.
No, he missed it. He yanked it.
And we can't get it done because a lot of factors, I think, went into that. Him missing it's number one. I think probably the foot, whatever. He was touched so much that night. He felt the pressure and knew he couldn't take a sack on a 2-point conversion to end the game.
It wasn't even any pressure. He could have stepped up. He could have took his time, and it was just.
But I'd say all those were factors to kind of make him just chuck it, right? And
you're right.
You rarely ever see, you see him miss, but not like that, and so that was concerning. But also, as we talked about, kind of the growth of Josh Allen, how coachable he is, like the stuff that he rarely now at this point in his career makes the same mistake, twice, other than that run backward sack. He still loves doing that, but everything else he does clean up pretty well. And but he just got touched way too much and sloppy game all the way around. I like that the defense can come out and kind of put the nails down and hold them. But Philadelphia on the other end was kind of knowing all year. That's why their fans are frustrated at him, because they weren't playing to their full potential and kind of let off the gas in a lot of situations. And in this case, it was kind of clear. Right. They just weren't being aggressive at all. Credit to the Bills defense for that, to clamp them up in the second half. But I don't think Philly was really trying too hard to make things happen either, until the Bills got back in. But they got back in so late, it didn't. Philly didn't have time to kind of turn their jets back on as well.
Respond,
so rough one. The weather said it all. It was just dreary all the way around. Nobody was happy. Josh was hurt, missed some throws, big turnovers. A game you like to see, try to get the win going in. And then this week's way more just kind of relax and rest everybody, and we're sitting in our spot. But I just you got to take glass half full. What did you learn from it? No, we're getting ready for the playoffs, and pretty much, 80% of that game was unacceptable if you're going to move on, especially 3 games on the road this year. So hopefully this team did learn, and, we get used this week as kind of a makeshift bye week to get healthy. A lot of guys are already out. And then, a week and a half until we play for keeps. So
and it's interesting when you speak about it that way, because of the fact that, like, you're right. Like, it's the pressure cooker is about to turn up, DT, and it's about to be that time of year where, the rubber is literally getting ready to meet the road. And when you talk about it, I'm wondering, as we transition, I don't know, like, what the matchups that you would feel favorable about, but I know that I called WGR the other day, and I was like, listen, I think that Jacksonville's the most complete team. I heard it earlier in the morning, and, I agree.
I heard, actually. We had a couple of Nickel City Crew followers reach out to me and say, hey, I just heard Rob on GR.
Oh man, I called the afternoon, man, and I was like, listen, and Shope kind of dismissed it. He didn't dismiss it, but he said mostly that they don't want to see us either. And I can understand that. And that's exactly some of the sentiments, DT, that I have sent out this past week was that listen, I think that the Bills, I'm not scared of any AFC team that we have to possibly play. I think that we could beat them all. Unfortunately, I think that we can lose to them all as well. I think I can come up with a scenario in my head almost for all of the teams outside of Pittsburgh where we would lose the game. And I think that that's the most unsettling part. I think I said that a couple weeks ago, DT, that it's that dichotomy of we could beat any team, but we definitely it wouldn't surprise me if we went down to Jacksonville and lost, or we had to match up again with Baltimore and we lose, or we go to Foxborough and we trying to beat them a second time at their play. Like it's the playoffs, man. The anxiety is what I live for. So I'm ready for this time of year.
Yeah, and it's I think that almost concern is cranked up a little this year because of the losses we've had, right? They haven't been like hard fought, loss. Obviously the Eagles game was a 1-point loss, but it still was a horrible game, and a team that, you probably should have beat at home when they didn't do anything in the second half. Like you gotta find a way to pull that one out. But that the Houston loss where he gets sacked 8 times and they can't move the ball. A kick return from Ray Davis saved us from, kind of getting embarrassed. A shitty Falcons team on Monday night, that Dolphins game where it was just brutal from top to bottom. Those losses were like, that's kind of what opens up to the concern, right? They're not, it wasn't like they were only against good teams and you had an excuse. The excuses were unacceptable. And so, yes, you could definitely lose to any of these teams in the tournament coming up because, they're there for a reason. They are good. The Jags are probably the most complete team. The Broncos have an outstanding defense. Patriots probably have the MVP at quarterback. And obviously anybody out of that AFC North other than the Browns, would be somebody you'd be worried about losing to. But with what Shope said, they got to play us too, and they, Josh Allen and the boys aren't the easiest matchup, no matter what. Even if they are struggling a little on offense, even if you can run on them a little on defense, I last year and the year prior and the years they were 13-3, they obviously showed they could lose to any of those teams too. It was mostly the Chiefs every time, but they did lose to the Bengals once. They did lose, so even when we were lights out and crazy good and nobody can stop us, we still showed we could lose to those teams. So yes, we definitely could lose to any of these teams, but I still think it's still our best shot compared to the previous years. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm not disregarding anybody, especially after what I've seen this team do this year, and I've seen what they can be capable of, and I've seen what they can't be capable of in some cases. And that can't be capable results to a loss in any of the teams in the bracket coming up. I mean, we've lost to one of them in Houston already, and New England. So there's plenty of opportunity there, but I think we could lose to any of those teams in the previous years too, because we have, even when we were the best team in 13-3 and whatever. So that's what the playoffs is, but you got to take the opportunity that's in front of you, and that's without any of those guys in. With Josh Allen kind of be underestimated, if you will, right now by the rest of the league, to go in there and slap some people around and make that run.
Yeah, I mean it's just interesting because like some of the stuff that we talked about, in the off season, it's not this is not the time to say nah. Like I want a parade, so I don't but and I know that it's not just about the receiving core, but I know that. A lot of it, like I respect like Dan Orlovsky. I heard him like just a couple weeks ago, right before New Year's, DT, and he was like, listen, the Bills have enough with their offensive line, with James Cook, with the weapons. He's like, as long as Dalton Kincaid's healthy for him, then, and I'm like listening it up like, holy, like, does he not like, so we're going to hinge this on Josh Allen at 86, who we can't, and it's just like, I look at it and it's like, listen, these are going to be 3 road games that you've got to win. And I don't want it to all hinge on Dawson Knox. I also don't want it to all hinge on the running game, where if a team shuts down the run, kind of like Philly did, and I know that Philly's got a great defensive line, but if a team shuts down our run, then it's over. Like, I can't have that in the playoffs because, Charles Barkley, y'all gone fishing. Like, there's no tomorrow. Like, so it's hard when you get into the tournament, DT, and like I'm looking at all the type of potential holes in the team, and those are some of the things that concern me because I want to be able to see us pass it if we need to pass it. And I get beaten and bludgeoned on Twitter on all those spaces where they said we can run all the way to Santa Clara. Maybe we can, DT, but what if a team stops James Cook in the offensive line? I've got to rely on Josh. And that if that means putting on the cape, then that means putting on the cape.
What if it was different? What if switch out the Broncos for the Chiefs, like everyone thought? Broncos, are wild card are out, and the Chiefs are in the division. The Joe Burrow's in somehow. Lamar wins the North, which still might happen. Like, what if those guys were all still in it, and the Bills are sitting in their exact same spot? Right, 5 losses going into the last week, the same type of same season they've had, the same losses they've had, and we're going into this tournament as the 5, 6, or 7 with all those other guys in it. Where are we then? Are we way more scared and saying, "Well, we're screwed"?
We're about to say we got a real hard cliff to climb.
So I think you're always going to find an argument for it to be hard. Even if you're the 1 seed through all this, and they couldn't stop because realistically you're a few yards away from winning, one more game and the Patriots losing one, and then you might have the opportunity for a 1 seed with 3 losses or even 4 losses, and then it's still basically the same team, So right. I just think like we can find an argument that anybody can beat us in any year, and no matter what, who's in it and who's not in it. I think if they do take away the run, we do have that guy that can kind of change things around, and we've seen that.
We have the coordinator that can call up the plays.
We've seen the magic in the playoffs of Josh Allen, and will we see that again? Hopefully, right? And he just kind of takes over and makes it happen if it has to get to that point, But you got to remain confident. A team that is strong. There are flaws to it for sure, but you have the catalyst, you have the nucleus, you have that guy that can do impossible. And that's kind of where I stand with it. Like, I can't get too scared because those other teams don't have that.
All right. I'll stand out of your way on that. I mean, we'll talk about it much more next week as we get a little bit of more crystallization and finalization on Monday of who are we playing, where are we going, what does Nickel City Crew going. I mean, we are on the tailgate routine, and we're going to let you guys know because I think that it's a situation where we're going to Jacksonville and we're going to have an epic weekend. So we'll figure it all out. Now, as we transition, tonight's episode is presented as always by and sponsored by Queen City Vintage. Check out Queen City Vintage. Listen, our buddy Nick and Kai, they're running a great site. Happy New Year from Queen City Vintage. They are running a great absolute storefront right across from 40 Thieves. Listen, all of the Bills swag, Sabres swag. The Sabres won 10 straight now, DT. The Sabres are back, swords up, whatever. Listen, all of the gear that you need, the black and red gear for the Sabres, anything nostalgic, they've got it for you at Queen City Vintage. Check them out on Elmwood. Listen, DT, it's more than likely. I mean, we've got to have a couple things go our way. Obviously, you beat the Jets. That's easy. You should do that. But then they're talking about the different permutations, DT. You've got to have Houston lose or something like that. You've got to have the Chargers lose. Now, the Chargers are supposed to be, rolling out Trey Lance. So there's a way that you can get to the 6. I don't know if it's really realistic that you get to the 5. If you don't get to the 5 and you're the 6 or 7, as the kids say, this is probably it on Sunday, DT. This is the end of the Ralph, man. And what a ride it's been, because it's been the place that I know it's been special to both of us.
I agree. I think it's pretty set. Literally. Texans playing starters, going against Riley Leonard and Phillip Rivers sitting down.
Right.
You got Chargers not playing Justin Herbert, no tackles, going up against the Broncos, who need the win to keep that 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And then who know if we're playing starters or not this week, you gotta, you might not beat the Jets. If you do beat the Jets, those 2 teams got to lose for you to move anywhere. So the 7 is really most likely.
Yeah, you'll beat the Jets, but yes, it may not be worth the risk.
will you? If Josh Allen plays the first snap and leaves, and Mitch Trubisky comes in, like I don't know, the Jets should lose.
You
You know
should.
that same thing happened last year in week 18 with the Patriots. Joe Milton came in and led them to victory, and it ruined
Yeah.
their draft stock. I mean, granted, it didn't matter because they're
Right,
murdering it
right,
this year, but it. I have really kind of zero trust in Mitch Trubisky, right? So I think James Cook might get a little more burn to get that rushing title type situation with Jonathan Taylor having a heavy dose. What is he, 60 some yards ahead of him?
We're about 40 something ahead of them, but we'll know because of the fact that the Colts played before us. So because they flexed it to 425, we'll know, and the Bills offense will know
What he needs.
what Jimbo
Okay.
needs. Mm-hmm.
So, I think 5's out, maybe the 6. And then, so most likely, they're saying then if Patriots stay, if they beat the
Yeah, they
Dolphins.
say that it's most likely either we're the 6 and we're going to Jacksonville, or we're the 7 and we're going to place New England.
To New England, yeah.
To New England.
I say it's more likely to be the 7, to be honest, Rob. Even if we win, I guess the Chargers would, because then the Chargers lose, we win, we bounce the Chargers, and we go 6, they go 7.
Yeah, and then correct.
Okay.
And
then
at
we're
that point, that's
we're
where
in Jacksonville.
and that's why I think that is the most likely. I think that's
Sure.
what the analytics say is the most likely thing to happen. And
Okay.
and if it's Jacksonville, then I'm ready. You know what I mean? Like in respects to the fact that I did call up WGR. I did say that the Jaguars were the most complete team I feel in the AFC. That doesn't mean that Josh Allen can't come and take care of business. It's all going to come down to me for the offense, because it seems like the defense is turning a corner, GT. And I've got to give respect to McDermott, who
I agree.
I talk a lot of shit about, but the defense looks like it's turning a corner. So if that's the case, then it's all on Joe Brady and coming up with schemes and finding a way. Brandon Cooks is relevant in the game last week. Make that happen in the playoffs. That's the type of stuff I need to see, DT.
Yeah, no, I agree. And as the defense tightens up, it feels like the offense takes a step back. But what better way to get back on step with the best quarterback in playoff history, as Mike Greenberg said this offseason. That's not even close.
You're absolutely right about it. DT, tell me your first, and tell Nickel City Crew, for the listeners who are new to us, what is your first and most fondest memory of the Ralph, of Rich Stadium, of Highmark, whatever you want to call it? For me, it's always going to be affectionately known as the Ralph. That's how I grew up. I'm 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the Super Bowl run. So I'm a little bit older than DT, but DT, talk to the people about your first and fondest memories of the Ralph, man.
Yeah, so we've told the story. Fell in love with the Bills as early as I could know what they were. My grandfather, diehard fan, he had season tickets, and I got the call to one of his games with season tickets. It was against the Detroit Lions. It was probably a November game, and because I kind of had to layer up a little. I had a Bills flag. And I put a shoelace and wrapped it around my neck so it was like a cape as the Bills flag, and that's what I wore to the first game. We met up with the people my grandpa would carpool with in Jamestown, New York. We get our breakfast in Aunt Millie's in Silver Creek, and we'd hit Twin Oaks, do a little tailgating, and walk our way into the stadium. I remember walking through for the first time that lot, which is now the new stadium, which used to be a parking lot, and seeing just the epicness of a Bills tailgate. And it's not just the social media made us new, but it's been like this the whole time, man. There's videos in the Super Bowl runs where people sitting in hot tubs in the middle of
the
January,
jacuzzi. I wanted to recreate that,
and then everything. So it was always like that. I remember somebody must have been trying to shotgun a beer or something and missed, and this beer was just laying on the concrete, and it was just shooting out like a fountain. It was just sitting there, spraying. And we walked by it, and I went into that stadium, and we were in the season tickets, and there was a band performing at halftime. I don't know if it was the UB band or some college band in New York somewhere, and they performed at halftime, and then they left. And the security guard came and got all the kids in the section and ushered us all down, and we got to sit in the front row, right in the end zone. They were in 113, the season tickets, so it was right to the right of the tunnel, behind the goalpost there. And we came down and we were able to sit in the front row. My first game, I moved down there, and I think it was like Jay Reamersma had a touchdown right in front of me.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that game clock and just not wanting it. I was hoping for all the TV timeouts, all the timeouts, pass only game. I didn't want that clock to tick down at all. I wanted to stay in that stadium forever. And I knew I loved the Bills, but after going to that first game, I was truly in love with them, man. And that was probably my first memory. A lot of memories since, which I'm sure we'll get into, but that was the first one. And I don't know, I was definitely under 10 years old. So we're talking well over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember it, I'll always remember it. Great day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love when you
They
tell
won
that
too.
story.
They
Yeah.
won too.
And they won. Yeah. I mean, I love that. I had my first time at the stadium was like a preseason game, and it was with one of my dad's work friends. You know what I mean? But like, I just always remember like how intense he was about defense, and he's yelling out, "Let's go D, let's go D!" And we were playing the Steelers, and it was preseason, and like that was the first time I had been to the stadium, and all it did for me, DT, was it matched everything that I heard on the radio. My fondest memories, you guys can go back to the very first introduction of Nickel City Crew, and I'm explaining who I am, and I'm like, I was a Van Miller baby, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the Super Bowl run, and then I'm a young black man in Buffalo that goes to, like a black church on the east side. Like, we are in church all day, motherfucker. Like, we are in church all day, like Sunday school. And like, yeah, by the time you get out of church, it's late, and you are listening. It's already kicked off at 1 o'clock, DT, and you're listening to Van Miller. And I'm in the car waiting for my mother to get in the car, me and my dad and my brother. And we're just, that's how I experience the Buffalo Bills. And as soon as I get home, you're listening to those guys, and then you turn on the TV and you hook up with with the live broadcast. And it was like, that's how I became a Bills Mafia, fanatic. And then, being down here in Charlotte, DT, I missed the Bills when I moved here. Like, I was scratching. I tell that story all the time as a joke. I was scratching like a crack addict. And I was like, I need my Bills. I moved down here to Charlotte in 06 and 09. I was like, there's no reason I should not be back with the second cheapest season tickets in the league. And Marv Levy's right. There's no place I'd rather be. When you call it home, DT, I don't know if you saw it or not. I think I told you about it pre-show. YouTube did a video, 45 minutes, Buffalo Bills, about the stadium, and like, it made me emotional at the end. Like, Steve Tasker made me emotional. Like, he made me want to like this was home. And that's how I felt every time when you talk about how you could take that deep breath at the tailgate as soon as you get out of the car, and then you look around and you could smell the charcoal on the fire, and you could see the stadium in the backdrop. Like, you felt so at home, and that's exactly how I felt. I would drive 650 miles just to experience that, and then drive the other 650 back. It was the best. It was always the best.
I mean, going through it here, like, obviously a lot more recent memories, because they're just good now. And and I live in Buffalo, and I've gone a little more.
That was during the drought. Yes.
I've gone a little more frequently, but even during the drought, there's some great ones. The one of the games I went to in the transition of these season tickets, I went, I was out of college, didn't have a job yet, was helping with my buddy's landscaping and paving company, for that summer going into the fall. And we got tickets to the Vikings game, and Sammy Watkins, Kyle Orton, Scott Chandler, and they go down and convert a 4th and 23 with Scott Chandler down the middle, come down. I was in the end zone they were coming to, opposite of the tunnel, and Sammy Watkins with a nice little 3-yard out route to win it at the buzzer. And that was a great one. And then my first game with the season ticket, with Brandon and Stefan up in 329, was Colts opening day, Tyrod to Percy Harvin deep ball. We're in the standing Buffaloes. Right down that. And that was before we knew each other. That deep ball, right, and that was the end zone right in front of us, and that was a beautiful
on the opposite
thing.
Side diagonal.
Yep. To the then the perfect game. The perfect game was, I'll never forget that night being literally negative degrees in there, and
stealing my notes.
Just the party, man. The party was amazing. It was just everyone just happy, having a good time. The music kept going, and we just kept scoring. It was cold, and it was perfect. The divisional game last year against the Ravens, snow just kind of brushed the field. It wasn't a snow game. It was just just a brush.
A dusting.
Yeah, I'm standing there kind of, like getting emotional because it was just like if you drew a picture of like football and meaning and family and playoffs, and it was that, the lights vibrant and radiating, that snow just kind of touching the field, and obviously an epic game and a great win to advance last year. I took my mom to her first game ever last year against the Titans, and that flyover, and I remember her and I just having a great, emotional moment together when those planes went over, and how beautiful it is in there. And I mean, shit, Rob, I've basically sat everywhere in that place. From a suite one time with DaQuan Jones to everywhere in the 300s to a few times in the club to when 104 with you to the rock pile. I scored those 50-yard tickets at the Broncos game last year just on a whim. Brett and the boys in 129, been on that 5-yard line, been in the back end zones, been everywhere, man. Been everywhere, all over that stadium, and saw some good ones. Really saw way more good ones than bad ones, Rob. I really, I've seen them lose, for sure, but I'm like the bad Colts loss, the bad Eagles loss. I was in there for both of those, but I mean the positivity, even during the drought, there was like a time where I was going to like I think it was like my 10th game I went to before that. I was like 9-0 going during the drought, and then they lost to the Dolphins 1-10, and that was the first time I kind of saw Squish the Fish, and the guy had like literally a dolphin, like he was like pulling with a string, and everyone was jumping on it as he was walking, and they lost that. But like and then I went to way more but good games than losses, even during the drought, and obviously recently, there's been a lot more wins than losses anyway. Last year they didn't lose at home at all, but countless memories, all good ones. Beautiful place, man. Beautiful place.
Man. I mean, it's funny because, and then that's where you can tell our age gap, and I think that's how it is with all of the Bills Mafia. Like you can always tell what fan is from what era, because like I was the season ticket holder when throughout when the drought was in its infancy, and we didn't even really know, like, is this thing growing? Like, is this a knot on my neck? Like you're asking your significant other, like, is something and it's one of those funny things. So like, I went through it, all where Brady is beating our heads in every year, and I'm driving up, because 06 is a revelation. 06 was the 50th anniversary. So there was a chance that like the drought was still early where we thought like, okay, this is just an aberration. Now we're gonna, get our quarterback and get it going, and it just didn't work out that way. So I've been a part of it since 09, and I mean, DT. It's funny that you talk about like all of the different memories, because I can remember great ones and not so great ones. But one thing that has always been great, DT, and I think that it's something that is, I guess we're really lucky to keep and hold on to, is the tailgating, DT. Like the tailgate scene is not changing. I will agree with, a lot of Bills Mafia that likes that I wanted the stadium downtown. I wanted a dome. Once Pagula wasn't building a dome and we weren't paying for it and help him pay for the dome, then I let those dreams go. And the second best choice would have been be across the street where it is. So I'm happy that like the tailgate scene it's all going to be the same, man. And I think that's kind of special.
I mean, let's talk about that, man. We are professional tailgaters, Rob, and that takes reps. And shout out to the entire crew, top to bottom, from the start, and how we became friends, and and how close we are with everyone in that squad. And now, we got the new guys, the dump truck juniors and Johnny coming in, and they were us, they were me, Brandon, and Stefan 10 years ago. And now they're carrying it in, and we just keep growing and getting better. And the club dub, the tents up, and Kenny with the good smoke, and Ben like blows anybody's speaker out of.
No, he telling the truth. Shout out to Kayla Fife. Shout out to Anna Kay, because they put out their little Instagram clips, DT, and they had the whole tailgate, scene, and it was like this whole running thing, and it was really well done, and it reminded me like, the grass lots, like that's where it all was, that DT's right. That's where we met. We met in the grass lots. And it was a situation where we didn't know each other per se beforehand, but then it just kind of all worked out where the Mafia means family. And DT, you're absolutely right. I was telling them that like the Anna K and like, you know what I mean, Kayla, they put out like the little Instagram thing, and it was like all this just running. And I'm like, man, that the tailgate right there, California Southwestern grass lots. We do it big every. I mean, it was the best place to be. There was no place that I wanted to be in America, in the world, on a Sunday morning. Like that's where I wanted to be, right there.
And I'm glad we finally, you know, joined up as a, you know, because I always remember like I'd have to like split my time. Once we became friends, I did my thing. I worked over with you guys, you know, did my shotguns. You know,
we just combined forces like Voltron, like Captain Planet,
and just made us unstoppable force. And there's some good tailgate. I mean, you know, I put us up there with the best of them for sure, but there's some good ones in our lot. I mean, Elvis is in our lot, and he's there every time I'm there, like early. If I'm like riding with Ben and Anna Kay or something, and we're there literally before sunrise, he's there too. You know, a lot of good things with that, and before everyone, you know, wades into the main attraction. The tailgate's great. I've never had a bad time. The coldest, the rainiest. The tailgate never is the issue, right? It's always you might be a little cold in the game, but I've never like been uncomfortable, you know, in a tailgate setting, no matter what the elements are, no matter what time of year, no matter who we were playing. There's always, even when we were booty cheeks, it was still like, okay, you never know. We might have a shot today against the Arizona Cardinals, who are 4-0 this week.
I get myself hyped up every year.
Yeah. I knew we had a chance to win every game, and that's what made it beautiful. And you kind of knew they always kind of kept it close, at least at home. And been everywhere in that stadium. One time I'll tell this story too. I sliced it was in my prime days, you know, when I was actually the dump truck, and you know, I would basically make money on beating people in shotguns because, you know, I was so fast, and I got a little cocky, and, you know, was doing them bare hand, and, you know, thinking I was a professional, and I got my finger. Oh, I got my finger real bad. There's still right on the inside there. You can see the scar. Got it real bad, and obviously I had a couple that day, so it wasn't stopping too quick. The blood wasn't stopping too quick, and there just was, who was next to us, just randomly, this group of ladies that were there on this girl's bachelorette party. She wanted to go to a Bills game, and there's just like 20 you know, ladies next to us, and they had a diaper bag with them, and she duct taped the diaper to my finger, and because I was like, I'm not missing the game. It was early season against the Broncos. It was like 110 degrees. I think it was like week 2 maybe. And I was like, I'm not missing the game. So I get up, you know, we go through the gate, and I look down, and it's coming through the diaper. Like, it's red through the diaper. So I'm like, oh, this ain't good. You know, it's coming through the diaper. I've been walking. I've had a few today. I gotta probably get this looked at. I wind up in like the medical area underneath the stadium. For real? And I go in there, and like, I'm all nervous. It's like pregame. I'm all nervous. Like, oh, you know. And so I give a shout out to, I don't know if he's listening, but shout out to my old roommate in Syracuse, my college boy, Mark Fraboni. I was so nervous that I was going to get like in trouble or something. So I gave his name the Bills thing. They're like, I didn't write my name. So I give him his information. And I go in, and they stitch me up real quick, put some glue on it, and they're like, "All right, how about no more beers today?" And I said, "No problem." And I was stitched up, ready to go, and I was in my seat before kickoff. And Mark Fraboni never got a bill, never got a letter. So it was, you know. So if you ever need a medical, just hold until you go to a Bills game, and then go underneath, give them a fake name, and they'll fix it right up for you. I've been under the stadium, in the stadium, sat everywhere you could sit in the stadium. I had Jim Kelly football camp as a kid. And we do lunch in the M&T suite, and then we'd have practice out on the stadium. JP Lossman gets drafted. I picked him off in linebacker drills and was like, man, this guy kind of sucks. Jim Kelly, one of my worst memories, I thought I was a wide receiver back then, and we were running, you know, doing drills, and he popped over, and he's like, let me get a rep. And it just happened to be the rep I was up on, and I beat my guy I'm the boundary guy, beat my guy, going right at 104, right into that corner of that end zone,
Okay,
wide
by
open.
us. Yeah, by
Wide
me.
open. I'm running a great route. Jim sees me, throws up a lob ball to me, and I went against all things I was supposed to do. Just keep running. It would have landed right in my hands, and I turned around and it went right over my head. And you could tell Jim Kelly was like, "Come on, man, keep running. I would have hit you perfect." And I'll never forget that. But that was in the stadium, and
That's
so
crazy.
man, I just so many memories. Even last year, Brandon, they did the season ticket, like 10 years a season. So Brandon couldn't make it, so he gave me the tour, and I went with my mother the day before I took her to the first game, and the tour was cool, like seeing the intricacies of that stadium and the ins and outs and where the press people sit, and all that stuff is kind of cool stuff that I've been in that
Absolutely.
stadium so many times but never seen like this side of it, right? So
Yep.
yeah, just awesome, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get emotional. Like everything is good. The only, like, not too many bad memories. The worst memories is if they lost, but like me personally having a bad time or something bad happening to
Never,
me,
man.
never happened. Even blew out my knee a few weeks ago in there, and it was still a good game. Josh Allen scores 6 touchdowns and they beat the Bucks. So it's just it's
Yeah,
it's
man.
great. It's great all over, man. It's been a good ride. It's been a good ride.
It's been a great ride, like when I think about, I can't top you. I'm not trying to top you or anything like that, because those are some crazy great stories, like I remember so many, stories, a lot of them revolve around Ace, shout out the best man Ace. And like, I remember the game he missed like 6 members. It was 6-3 Cleveland game. That was like, remember at home, and like that was like the word, I think Derek Anderson or something. I don't even know who the quarterback was, but it was really, really bad. It was 6-3 Cleveland. And I remember that like Ace was like out of commission, and like he was not coming in the stadium. And I like left his ticket. That was back in the days of ticket stubs. And I like left him his ticket in my car, and he's got his leg outside of my car door. You know what I mean? And like the windows rolled down, and I'm like, listen, man, you need to get it together. Like, we're all leaving right now. He's like, I'm going to meet you in there. I'm going to meet you in there. And I just remember always looking over my shoulder, like to see if he was there. And he never showed up. I stayed until pretty much the entire game. And it was like a horrible experience, but like it brought us together because of the fact that I was always able to talk shit like forever. Then I'm like, you missed the Cleveland game. Like, it was always something. I was always able to use that trump card. And I never used to lose any arguments after that.
Everybody as one of those friends that couldn't make it into the Bills game. Somebody was friends with that dude that jumped out of the porta potty into the pit a couple of years ago.
Yes, somebody knew him.
Everybody's got a story and a friend for sure. I always talk about it, Rob. You and I we pride ourselves in being professional tailgaters.
That's right.
That term is like true. Like, I can look at for a 1 o'clock game, I can look at my watch and know exactly where I need to be. I need to turn it up a little. I've been talking too much. It's time's ticking. I need to turn it up.
Or now it's time to relax.
I'm a little wobbly. I'm a little wobbly and still seeing my breath out here. Maybe
we got to be able to make it in.
Yeah, get some ribs but I'm gonna get in that stadium. So that I knock on wood.
There's the funniest shit is watching the other people that cannot handle, and they just. And I'm like, man, they never let them in.
Last year, not to call my mother. I give her a lot of credit, but it was her first game, first tailgate, so she's it's overwhelming and everything's around her, and then everyone starts hearing, oh, it's your first game, do a shot with us, let's do this, and then it's 9 o'clock. My mother, not a big lady, and I start kind of feeling it with her. So I'm like, hey, listen, it's a marathon here. You're with the professional. I'm not yelling at you, telling you what to do or not do. But if you want to make it in there and enjoy this thing, like, it's a procedure.
You got to get some waters incorporated soon.
Yep. So follow me and we'll get in. But yeah, it is a true thing that you got to know what you're doing out there, Rob. And the beauty of getting a lot of reps is we did, and we did it right every time. And God bless everybody for that.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Bills Mafia tonight. This is such a nostalgic night. Shout out to Nickel City Crew. DT, I started this podcast, and that the literal first episode was -5 degrees, below, and exclamation point, question mark. And like, it was funny because, I mean, you listen back to that show, and like, it doesn't even sound anywhere close to the same, but it's funny how far we've come. DT, we're in season 5 Like next season, we'll be in season 6 before like, and it's just like a lot has come in that stadium and a lot has happened. And like I remember, and that's probably like that is my 51-3. You know, they asked on the radio this morning, they're like, if you could transport yourself to any, you know, Bills game in home game in history, where would you go? And like, I immediately was like 51-3. Like that's my, my Bills, dream is like to be able to be old enough to, feel it and to, you know what I mean? Like the guys in the jacuzzi and just all of it. You know what I mean? I was 5, 6, 7, and 8. You don't get a chance. I just remember that we weren't going to church that day. And then my mom let us get candy from Wegmans and we getting, you know what I mean? A whole bunch of, M&Ms and stuff like that. And like, that was the biggest thing. And then remembering Scott Norwood's kick and missing it. That's like the jog memories of all of those Super Bowls. Is just like, we don't have to go to church that day and we get candy. My mom lets us get candy that day. And like, DT, it's been crazy. That was probably my favorite time being in the stadium, man. Was just like, it was cold. It was anticipated to be cold, but I promise you, it was like the third quarter before I even realized I was cold because I was having so much fun. Yeah. I mean, no punts, touchdowns every possession. It was, I called it perfection in the park. I called it perfection.
The first tutty was right in front of you in 104.
I literally was. Yo, so that's COVID time. So don't forget that's post-COVID. So everybody had to have a card or something like that. So Bills Mafia, you already know how we get down. We'll make sure that we get in the stadium. By the time that the actual fireworks were going off after the anthem, it was already dark. So then they've got cops out there with the flashlights, the sheriffs, and eventually they're just like, just go, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not trying to be dicks and like keep us out of the state. Like, you know what I mean? And like everybody's rushing. I ran full speed after I got down those stairs. You go down the stairs, and then everything else is on a ramp, and I can feel good about my speed on the ramp, not stairs. I'm not trying to bust my ass on the first set of stairs coming in, but yeah, after I got to the stairs, we ran, and Josh Allen was scrambling out to the right and passed to Dawson Knox for that first touchdown, and that's my first Instagram. Shout out to my boy Dion Brown. Like that's my first. He helped me with my first Nickel City Crew Instagram post, and it was like a compilation of like highlights, and that was the first highlight. I ran into the stadium at my seat, and Josh Allen threw the ball right to Dawson Knox, right in front of my seats. Shout out to Section 104.
Yeah, that's awesome. That just sparked one, for me. Still this is drought time. I think it's like the first year they have Thursday Night Football. And we're hosting Dolphins, and I lived I was still in college, and me and the boys, you came out that day, tailgated, and same deal. We were a little late getting in. We didn't know the procedure back then, what time you had to leave to get in your seat at the right time, any of that. We were getting in a little late. And I remember I bought a hoodie by one of the peddlers there right on Abbott. One of those like, like one of those makeshift hoodies. And with it had like CJ Spiller on it or something. And I'm coming down. I was not in 104, but I was on the other side. I was same end zone, just on the other side of the goalpost. Whatever that was. We were down there. We were like row 3 or 4. And was it Roscoe Parrish?
It might have been.
Roscoe Parrish, number 11.
Yeah, Roscoe Parrish.
It was Roscoe Parrish coming, returning a punt. And we were coming, same deal. We were walking down the stairs into the seat, and he returned that punt right at us the whole way, right into that end zone. And I was going nuts. We were celebrating. First quarter ends. I feel in the hoodie pocket I bought, my phone gone. Not in the hoodie pocket.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh shoot. And, obviously looking all over, looking on the ground, there's thousands of people, shit's everywhere. Sure. It's dark out. I've had a few, and I'm like, shoot, like and this was like a series in my college career. I was just blowing through phones. Like it was horrible. Like I kept breaking one. I lost one. I had my mom's pink Motorola Razor at one point because my parents were like, we're not getting you any more phones. Like this is ridiculous. Then they bought me an indestructible phone, which was like, that was a bad idea because what's the first thing a college kid's going to do when they have an indestructible phone?
Drop it from something high.
try to destruct it. And it is not indestructible. It was destructed.
It was destructible.
And whatever phone I had at the time, gone. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh no. And like, I was like, we were having such a good night. We were enjoying it. And now I lost my phone and I'm just looking and can't find it. I'm texting my mom off Noah. Noah's with me. I'm texting my mom off Noah's phone, like, "Hey, I lost my phone. I'll call you later."
Oh
And
my
then
God.
I go out to the bathroom. I come back in and I come in the wrong, section because it wasn't our season. See, it was before seasons, anything like that. I
Yeah.
came in the wrong section, so I came the section over,
Yeah.
and I'm going walking
You got to
down,
walk across and you
and
found
I
your fucking
realized
phone.
oh shit, I'm over there, and I go to like go across the row, and it just like a shine catches my
You
peripherals,
found your
and
phone.
it's like jammed up underneath a seat is my phone sitting there, all good, not broken. It's a section over underneath the bleacher seat. Like
Yeah,
like
you
an
had it
hour
too.
later, I just randomly find it. It was incredible how that even happened. But yeah, Roscoe Parrish brings it back right in front of us, punt return. They beat the Dolphins on that Thursday night, and I found my phone. That was crazy.
I love that story. That's a
Yeah.
good one. That's a good one. I mean, I remember, for sure as we wrap up tonight, I remember, like, Pancake House DT and like watching that, like you'll see it when you watch that YouTube thing from the Bills, like it's emotional, like, and like they, you know, everybody talks about how like how much emotion was in that building and stuff like that. And Nickel City Crew, DT and I had my Kings, my oldest two Kings, Bobby and Nate, on their first. This was their first ever regular season game. We've been to many of the preseason Kids Day games, but this was the first one regular season. I always told them, I'm like, I need to wait till they're like old enough where, like, if something goes crazy, or people talking crazy, they're not going to look at me like, oh my gosh, Dad, did you hear that, man? Like, nothing crazy like that. Like I talk worse than some of these people, but like, you know what I mean? You might see some shit or you might hear some shit, and I wanted them to be able to handle it. So they came a couple of years ago, and we met up with DT. I picked them up, and we went to the Pancake House. Now, there's only two that I know of in Buffalo, DT. Just Nickel City Crew. That's what I grew up on. I grew up in Star Point, and then when we moved to Williamsville Pancake House on Main Street. Well, there's another one, and I didn't know that there was another one in Orchard Park, right up the road from the stadium. And DT, we had breakfast, and we're leaving. We had a great breakfast. DT crushed some pancakes, everybody crushing sausages and eggs, and we're getting moving. And just the mafia all throughout the entire Pancake House. And we leave, and we're headed up Abbott, Southwestern, excuse me. We're headed up Southwestern, and DT just goes to the boys, and he's like, "Listen, fellas," he's like, I feel a kick return today." And I'm like, get out of here. Like, get out. You know what I mean? And I'm totally not giving DT any credence or anything like that. So we get into the stadium. It's their first game. We got we make sure that we're again tailgate professionals. Like DT said, we're I'm a dad on duty. I'm making sure that I'm staying respectful. And we had a great tailgate. The boys catching footballs and stuff like that. They're running around. We go into the stadium. They catch the pregame, and then all of a sudden, I mean, DT ain't lying. It was a situation where DT, I couldn't even believe it. And Hines is coming to us. So when I watched the little YouTube thing today, that made me like, there was two times I got emotional. I got emotional watching that. And then I got emotional at the end. Steve Tasker, just like the way he closed out that shit after 45 minutes of all this nostalgia hitting you in your Bill's soul and punching you, like, to be Mike Tyson in the rib cage of your Bill's soul. I broke down at the end of the way Steve Tasker was describing it. And DT, that was special though, because Hines is running at us, and all I could do was look back at my sons. I was like, Uncle DT, he called it. And DT, I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. In my Bill soul, it's etched in like the Force rolls.
That was so awesome, man.
It was. I couldn't even believe that it was really happening. I couldn't believe it.
I call it. I DM'd. I'm a little offended. Naeem Hines. He can't. I mean, he's a famous running back, but he can't be getting like thousands of DMs a day, right? And I DM'd him night before, and I said, "Hey, I'm feeling house call." I said I DM'd him. I have the timestamp and everything right in his DMs. I said you're gonna get house call tomorrow. I'm calling house call tomorrow with you. Let's go. Wow. And then that's kind of what made me like pumped up about it too. Tell the boys like, yo, I think I'm feeling.
That makes the story better. I didn't know that.
Yep.
And the night before, you were sold on it.
I thought he would, hit me back on that, be like, "Damn, you, thanks, man. Yeah, you're right." But with
Yeah.
house call, yeah, and I remember, and that's the first thing I thought of when he started to break. I was sitting with Ben and Anna Kay, in their seats, and he broke it away from us, and I said, "Oh, he's going," and then he took it, and you called me, and you can't, the
Right.
service is
No,
all at the stadium,
I
and you're like,
couldn't.
you called it. And I just go, house, 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 house.
Or from across the stadium. Yeah,
Yeah.
I look back at, you know what I mean? We were there, and
Yeah,
I
that
look
was
back.
I love that, man. I'm glad the boys got to experience that one too. And yeah, that was a great one. That was a
Yeah,
great one.
because we split because it was me, you, and then Greg, and my cousin Greg, you know what I mean? And so my cousin Greg and I sat with the boys, and then you went across the way with Anna Kay and them. But like breakfast, we had a great breakfast, and you said it on the ride over. And I look back at them like, I can't believe what just happened. Can you believe it? And it's a memory that I'll never forget for sure. I mean, what can you say, man? Ralph was to say you opened 1973. It's literally the house that OJ built. I know that. Yeah, I was happy that the YouTube thing showed a little bit of OJ. I've got no type of comments on anything other than these guys when it comes to what they do on the field. Like, it's the athlete. Like, we don't know what all these guys do and women do in their lives as personal, on their personal lives of athletes, like, or entertainers. Like, that's what they are. Like, I stay out of that. OJ was one of the greatest running backs of all time. He happened to be a Buffalo Bill, and it was the house that he built. And then so many memories from there. Like, Jim Kelly didn't even want to come, DT, to Buffalo to play. Like, he played in the USFL for the Houston Gamblers. Then they folded with Donald Trump that league, and like, he had to play in the NFL. Like, he had to come if he wanted to continue his playing professional career. And like, it was off and running since then. Bruce Smith in '85, right behind me, bad man. You got Thurman. I mean, Andre. Shout out to Marv Levy, Bill Poley, and those guys made memories, and they shaped, who we are now. And then, respect to McDermott and Bede for breaking the drought. The drought should have never been as long as it was. So that's why I'm always hesitant to pour and heap on praise. That it should have been done, years ago. Rex should have broke it, or Malarkey was supposed to break it the year that we played the Pittsburgh backups. Like that, it wasn't supposed to go that long, but. Irregardless, I'm happy that it's gone. I'm so happy and thankful for Terry Pagula and his family, and shout out and blessings to Kim that she always gets back to the best health that she can be in. And they kept the Bills here, DT, and that means a lot, man. It does.
Yeah, and we're yes, like we obviously you're a touch
it means
older
everything,
than me,
actually, because I'll probably break down if the Bills move. Like, it means everything. It means
for sure. And I mean, you were talking about, man, if we kind of missed that first glory stage, suffered through it a little bit, and now we're kind of in the second glory phase.
Yeah.
But we are in that, within that rare, like, people were in that rare part where they started coming in the 80s, and then they saw them get really good, and then the tail end of their fanhood was the drought, and kind of opposite for us. The beginning was the drought, and then it transitioned to to being good, and then we're going to kind of get a taste of both the stadiums. There's that group of people that went from the rock pile to the Ralph, to get it started, and now that's us now, right? We're going from the Ralph over to the new Highmark, and we'll be able to tell stories of both of them, as we go. We're still young enough where we will have a few games over in that new place, hopefully, and hopefully the first one next year is that Thursday night matchup, and they're dropping that banner down, and I'm crying like a baby as they're looking up at it, and know we did it, and how picture perfect would that be? But wow, yeah, they just keep coming. Like, those, obviously the quick ones that are in my memory, but now, like, if I really sat here and think about it, like, there's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little nuances of that place and that stadium, and funny things you've seen, and compassion you've seen, and the bad things mixed with the good things, and how it all is one. And wow. Yeah, it really does. I knew it was coming. You knew it's coming all year, but now it's actually here, and it is going to be the last time they roll out in that field. And I've been watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this documentary on Amazon Prime, and it's basically just a cool, like, it's called Raise the Flag Bucks or something, and it's just their whole team history. And I was always kind of interested in them. I like that John Gruden Super Bowl team was always fun. I remember like playing with them in Madden back in the day. I was always a Bills fan, but
I know it's
the
Madden,
Bucks were
man.
cool,
It's
right?
Madden. We
The
try to
Bucks
get
were cool.
W's.
And I didn't really know, and they talks about how they're an expansion team and how they were literally horrible for years, and then they finally got a quarterback and they didn't pay him, and then finally they broke through and got that first Super Bowl. And they beat the Eagles the year they got their Super Bowl. They beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship, kind of
That's
a
right.
similar to like a Bills
Yeah,
Chiefs.
that's
They
Andy
were
Reid.
playing
He
the
went
Eagles
to
every year in the
yeah.
playoffs, and the Eagles would beat them every year. And it was like the boogeyman was the Eagles and Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid, and they took down the Eagles in the Link, the last game. Not the Link. The war. What was the Eagles' old field?
Veterans
Veteran
Memorial.
Stadium. They took down the Eagles in the NFC Championship game in the last game of Veteran Stadium. They beat the Eagles lost last game in that career. The Eagles lost to the Bucks and went on to win the Super Bowl. And so now, me, the homer and optimist and glass half full that I am, I'm thinking like, good, we're not going to host that AFC Championship game, so we can't get beat in the last game, of the and ruin our season. No matter what happens Sunday, we win or lose against the Jets, we're still playing the next week. So that's
Yeah.
not going to happen. But going on the road, taking a team out, closing their stadium with a victory, and then going on to win the Super Bowl. The Bills closing their stadium and then going on to win the Super Bowl and then hanging that banner. The first thing you do in that new stadium is hanging that banner. Like that's just going to change all the curse talk, the Buffalo's shit talk, the everything why we can't get it done. And we raise a banner in the new stadium. All the mojo is good after that, and I hope it's years and years and years post Josh Allen of success for this team. So, yeah, it's going to be an emotional day Sunday, but a beautiful
It
one.
is.
Like I said, there's even during the seventh, and that's what I think the beauty of this whole thing is, Rob. Like, even with all that BS, like yes, the last 7-8 years have been awesome. They barely lose at home. It's great. We beat the brakes off people.
Right.
Josh Allen's a superstar. That's all fun. Prime time,
Mm-hmm.
all that shit. But even during those bad years and that drought and going to all those games, like to rarely have a bad experience in that place just shows shows how sweet it is, man.
The
How sweet
Mafia,
it
man.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's all of it. It's the tailgating. It's the game. It's how many times we go out there and the tailgate was the most, like we were more focused on that and enjoying that because we knew we were getting ready to get our heads stomped when we walked into the stadium. But we're still coming and we're still showing up. And I think that's what makes, I know that's what makes Bills Mafia so special is that we still show up for our team. Josh Allen talked about it when he first came here about how they were, we're here when the team was shitty. Like, all of the guys have talked about it because of the fact that it's just who we are. And the Ralph is a big part of it because that was our communal place. That was our church, for lack of a better term. That was our sanctuary, the place that we could all come. And that was all races. That was all, all creeds. We're not Philly. We're not San Francisco or the Raiders where we're fighting amongst each other and all these different type of fights breaking out. Sure, guys get fucked up in the stadium and fights break out, but it wasn't like, it's
Canadians.
not like, Yeah, it's not always, one of those crazy things where that's what we're known for, anything like that. If anything, we're known for our hospitality. You come through our tailgates with a respectful attitude. We're feeding you. We're giving you drinks.
We want to show off like how great it is, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
I love it. Yeah,
that's what makes Bills Mafia, so wonderful is the fact that we extend that type of love to all of the NFL because we're just happy to have our Bills and we're happy that you're here and we hope that we beat your face in today and your quarterback sucks and if it's Brady, we'll really let you hear it. So like that's how it was for me growing up, DT, for sure. After the Super Bowl run, and I'm happy that we met. I'm happy that we met there. And that kind of crystallized our friendship and led us on our way here. Nickel City Crew, we really appreciate you tonight. We've gone over, but I could sit here all night literally and talk about games and like the worst game I was at, and all the time. I mean, DT, the power went out one week. Me, DT are there with our little girlies. The power goes out. LaDainian Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, and power just goes out. I don't know what hit what, but the power went out. Like we've been at that. We've just been like all over that stadium. Like Monday Night Football. Where we play the Cowboys, and that's Romo. Like, what does he go 5 picks? I'm in the upper deck right corner, to the left of the tunnel. totally diagonal from my season tickets. You know what I mean? I didn't even have season tickets back then. And like, yeah, man, like that night, it was shitty that we lost. And then I'm arguing with my ex-wife after the game, and we're trying to buy the car that we came in. And like, it was, we both got stories forever. Yep. That stadium, I'm going to miss it, DT. I am going to miss it after Sunday. I am.
Definitely. There'll be it'll be nice to have some, amenities in the new stadium from truly zero. That's what the stadium is so like, all these memories and all these good times from with the stadium being by far the worst stadium in the NFL. Like, when it comes to amenities and anything else, like it's literally a concrete bowl with some aluminum troughs that you piss in. Like it literally couldn't be worse. And you still and it's still one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, right? So it'll be nice to have amenities. It'll be nice to have an actual, professional stadium that you go to and watch a game in. But looking forward, hopefully, I have a family someday and I can start creating, those memories in that new stadium and tell them about all the times back in the old stadium and, all the fun we had and how that's transitioned to the new one. But yeah, it's everything. You can't play there forever. Like I agree, the stadium sucked, but the experiences in it were you couldn't replicate that anywhere else, and it's beautiful. Beautiful.
No, man, it is beautiful. It's been a beautiful ride. So, goodbye, old friend. Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia. Appreciate you, joining us tonight. Listen, out there, spread love, not hate this weekend and every weekend. I mean, just have a great time. If you're out there, DT and I will be back next week before the playoffs. We will reveal finally our playoff plans. But DT, are you headed out there tomorrow on Sunday?
Sunday? Yeah.
Okay.
I got it. Yeah, I don't have a plan yet, but I gotta at least pay. I don't know about going in.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to be on ground and give a final, deep breath and look at it.
Drop her roses. Give her her roses. You know what I mean?
Kiss goodbye.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I could, so definitely do it for me. Listen, these were my Bills thoughts said out loud. I mean, listen, the Ralph, you'll forever be Bill's home for me. I know for so many members of the Mafia, the ones that don't go all the way back to the rock pile on Jefferson and Best, everyone else, it's the Ralph, it's Rich Stadium, it's Highmark, it's New Era Field for a half a second. It's whatever you want to call it. But for I know from Nickel City Crew to you that was home for me for sure, JT.
Yeah. Man. Well, we got we need 12-5. Need that win total. End the season on a positive note. And the Ralph and the party. They say they're bringing extra security in. So you can't yank your seat out of the concrete and take it home with you. But I don't know, man. I think they're going to see some shit they're not prepared for. I don't think they're prepared. This is
Are there any non-metal socket wrenches? I don't know how that works. How are you going to get
you and I are just two of hundreds of thousands of people that have had those experiences through the last 50 years, and I think that it's going to be emotional Sunday, and I don't think they're, even with extra security, I don't think they're ready, man. I think there's going to be some unruly shit going on in that place, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how that all goes down. They're doing a good job of trying to pump in the we'll sell everything, it'll be up for you can buy your own seat. All this they're like pump you up for it, and it's but some of these people
in there, I bet you that thing.
It's a 4:30 game. A lot of these people are getting there. Some people might be pulling the 12-hour shift. If you're the Kennys of the world and coming right from the farm and getting there before sunrise, when it comes down to a 4:30 game, and you're going to tell some of those people that have been logging in there after a win, they can't take the cup holder they just kicked off. I think it's going to be. I think people are going to be coming home with some nice merch. Take the ketchup dispenser from your concession stand. Take something, man. Go in there, Mafia. Enjoy yourself. Be careful and pay homage to a truly beautiful place.
Yeah, man. Yeah, pay homage for sure. I think that you're absolutely right. A few trinkets will be taken back for souvenirs for sure. So we condone that here at Nickel City Crew. We're all for the nostalgia, man. We love the Ralph. And again, a goodbye, old friend. DT, hit him with a Go Bills, man.
Let's go 12-5, finish strong. Go Bills, red helmets.
Go Bills. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.